Welcome to a different perspective where civil commentary is priority. Today is April 9, 2023, and welcome. Today I am just, I haven't really made any content where it's just me talking and telling people what's up. It's important because, as a content creator, you kind of want to make sure you have some kind of rapport with people that follow you, and I just think I've been doing a really bad job of that. And I want to go ahead and show you my YouTube channel to give you more context. Sorry, I misspoke of what I'm about because, I've had a couple more new followers and more people that are willing to engage with me on my DMs, and that's usually a sign that, hey, there's some potential guests probably in the horizon. So I'm just going to go ahead and give you guys a little tour of what I'm about and let you know what I'm thinking for the future, and also talk about some tweets. So that's pretty much the topic of today's discussions. So yeah, here is my YouTube page. I have a small little following, and the reason I feel like I have a small following is for one, I'm not very consistent in doing things online. Because, I have a lot of commitments due to my job, family, and all that. And just doing this is another commitment on top of the commitments I already have. I like doing it, but it's just something that takes time, and it's a passion project. So, yeah, when you make content where you're just arguing with people, you're not going to have a lot of people just initially say, yeah, we want to be a part of that so you can chew us out. But, is it about chewing you out? No, it's not. So let me go ahead and just show you. Every guest that I have had, they're always curious, like, how long are we going to be talking? And I'm always telling them, it's like, it's going to go by pretty fast. You won't realize how long we've been talking until you'll be like, wow, that was an hour or that was 2 hours. And yeah, because I think for the most part, people in our country, we do want to talk to each other, but that's why so much money is invested in dividing us, because it's our natural reaction to talk to a fellow human. But the media, the algorithm, which I don't really blame the algorithm per se, it's a reflection of the content that you consume. You could dictate that. Self-accountability. And I'm about to show you how I'm affected by the algorithm. I mean, I really don't watch a whole bunch of divisive stuff. I watch a lot of content that's about debates. So you'll get to see, it complements my personality. And sometimes your personality was probably different before you consumed all that, but it didn't help you. And it probably sees people that you disagree with. It probably makes you form an opinion of people that disagree with you in a way that's really divisive, which isn't good. So try to broaden your horizons and watch other things like me. I'm just kidding. But no, I'm not. But yeah, I like to have conversations with people that don't agree with me, or I find some way there is a disagreement so we can have that conversation. It's not necessarily a debate per se. If it turns into a debate, I'm fine with that. But my main goal is to make good arguments so people that decide to watch my content can get value out of it, and I can make a good argument to convince them. Now, if I can convince the person that I'm having a conversation with to see things my way, even better. But it's not my main goal, I guess you can say. It's my secondary goal. But I try to do something new, and I've evolved, and I'm still evolving and just trying to think of some new ideas. And let me go ahead and show you. Go to home so you can just see what I'm about. I do like Destiny a lot. He was very hyperbolic at the start when he was known as Nebraska Steve, and I really didn't watch his content originally because it was just full of profanity, and he just would yell and get hypersensitive. I guess that's how the online culture was back then, but he's matured quite a bit. And what I like is that he does a lot of debates, and he does a lot of political outreach. I mean, he does a lot of stuff that supports politicians and all that. So he's a man of action, and I respect that. And there's some conservative video game stuff, and Bo, the fifth column, very chill dude, not pretty divisive. He's pretty chill. And then I don't even know what all that is. What is a woman? Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of conservative takes. Andrew Tate arrives home after, just debunking Dylan Burns. He's another person that he was in Ukraine, so he's a reporter from Ukraine, and he also does the hippy dippy debates. Oh, and then Destiny's calling Ethan Klein a scammer. So it's people on the left calling out each other. And that's one thing when people like to say the sides of each side are bad, I'm like, no, I think one side's worse, because I think right-leaning people do not always openly criticize their leadership. I mean, you're not going to find a person that supports Trump criticize Trump. You will see people criticize Biden that voted for Biden. And when you have such a following that's so ideological, opposed of criticizing their leader, that's very problematic. So yeah, I like Star Wars. And yeah, so just like there's some Texas stuff. And yeah, what is this? Yeah, just like The Rings of Power was a massive flop. I have it's reaction videos to movies. Pretty much people that are known to debate. I like watching that. So yeah, it's nothing crazy. I like Abba and Preach. And some more Star Trek, Mario, Hot Wings. I do like some wings. So yeah, it's pretty chill. I don't really have that many things that'll just make you go, what? So, you know what? Where did my music go? Sorry about that. But aside from that, I just wanted to give you a tour of what I'm about based on my algorithm and the content I produce. And when I do engage with people online on Twitter, it's going to be a couple of factors I take into mind. I want to be a good advocate for what I believe in, and I do want to make good arguments, but I will match the energy of people. But I do have some rules. I don't like to use profanity because, you're just going to seem like an unhinged, hyperbolic person. But it's okay to get mad and hold people accountable. But people are going to have their interpretations of what you say too, regardless if you consider yourself as a person that has the discipline with your rhetoric. People are going to think the way they think. So that's another good reason to make videos, so people can see your demeanor and really hear you articulate who you are and what you're trying to do. So that aside, I'm going to go ahead and discuss some tweets, some topics that were tweeted in my public forum, and also to address some DMs that I got. And I'm not going to publicize those DMs, but I do want to go ahead and talk about that to just give you guys a better insight of what I'm about. So let's go ahead and switch over. Man, it's a shame. Did I not have my cool groove this whole time? All right, but now I have the different groove right here when I transition, and I just like to change it up a little bit. Here is my Twitter account. I'm giving you a tour of my social media presence. This is going to be the last thing I show. I don't have any other active social media presence in other platforms yet. But speaking of that yet, is the fact that I have some DMs of people giving me suggestions of what I should do to grow, and just some ideas of how I should carry myself online. And it's really cool to see that. And part of making a community is to hear people in your community, hear them out. And if they want to be a part of your community in a way that you had not anticipated, hear them out. And that's what I'm doing. I'm making this video to just fully articulate my mindset of growing and flirting with other possibilities. And there's always the desire of me wanting to do live streams. So I have to just make sure I'm secure enough to do that so I can troubleshoot any issues that would happen live. I don't want to just not provide that security for my guests. They're going to be like, what happened? And I'm going to say, I don't know. So I don't want to be that guy. So I want to make sure I know how to troubleshoot everything and just make sure it's a smooth, comfortable process. Because I think in one of the YouTube interviews that I had, there was one issue. That was my fault. I wasn't able to get the video to work, and my guest didn't have his face shown for like 80% of the video time. So I was like, oh no. And I wasn't able to get audio for one of the videos that was shared by one of my guests too one time. So it's going to happen, but that's just something that bothers me. So I just really want to know what I'm doing so I can just feel more secure about my content. Well, aside from that, I've had another DM saying that they knew bigger, I guess, social media personalities to become a guest on. They go, well, if you want to go, let me know. And I'm like, okay. So, I thought about it. I'm down. So if you're still wanting to put me on some podcast with some libertarian or some, hey, I've already done my part. I mean, if you want to push me, I'll do it. I don't care. So whoever's sending out those DMs, making those recommendations, you know who you are. And I had some other dude tell me that they knew someone from Tim Pool. And I'm like, wow, really? So yeah, if that's possible, I guess I'll do that too. But I don't think they're going to have interest with somebody that only has 77 followers. But there's a lot of people that are more, established. They say, well, we look for people that are on the left. They just never want to come. I'll do it. I don't care. But I do care. But I don't care about the fact that, it might hurt my image, because I am who I am, and I think I do a pretty good job of representing what I believe. So that's what I meant when I say I don't care. I'm not worried about like what I'll look like. That's what I meant to say. All right. Aside from that, yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's go ahead and talk about some of these back and forths that I just want to go ahead and bring the current events. And I'm just like, is this what people are wasting their political capital on? Let's go ahead and check that out. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's just like the trans issues never end. And you even have people that are conservatives that are calling people out now. Zuby is someone that I've, made a video about, giving him some constructive criticism. And he's saying, this is what I'm saying. And he's responding to someone saying that said, I see more drag shows now on conservative counts than anything. I mean, they know what triggers conservatives, and conservatives are very pearl clutching demographic. They're like squirrel, when there's an important policies that need to be focused on to solve systemic issues. They're the most easiest distracted demographic. And think about it. The trans population in the United States is just a little bit over 1% of our population. And they got that much of a stronghold on your attention to focus on that instead of more, important issues. And let's just go ahead and see some of the tactics they utilize, because you got Kid Rock, talking about like he's going to buy Bud Light. Is it Bud Light that they're... Yeah, because Coors is the king of beers now, which Marjorie Taylor Greene, you can see there is her Twitter account. She wants to push like family values. She's the last person to push that. If you know anything about her personal family dynamics, yeah, she's not the saint she tries to push, but she'll put Coors for a photo op, and Coors advertises their support to the LGBTQ community. So it's just like, why? Why do you do this? And yeah, and then you got Kid Rock. I was like, this is so goofy. I don't even know where he is, man. He's here somewhere. I'm sorry. There he is. You got Kid Rock right there. And let me go. Oh my gosh. And Kid Rock is pandering to the Southern man. Homeboy is not even from the South. He's from Michigan. He's a Midwesterner. So I'm just like wearing his overalls and drinking a Bud Light. He doesn't care. But he got people fooled, and it's just really interesting to see, people I know, they're just like, yeah, Kid Rock. And I'm like, so man, he's gone to Clown Town, man. And where was the other one? There's another funny, it's like Kid Rock drinking a Bud Light with a trans. I'm like, okay, man. I mean, I've never thought Kid Rock was cool, so it's Richard Ojeda being a little bit kind. It's like, but this is, the left used to get criticized for having celebrities in their politics. But that's all the right does. I think it was Candace Owens that was like talking about like, we don't care about celebrities' feelings. Now she has a talk show where she has celebrities on. So I get why celebrities are relevant, because they have a platform, and I don't have a platform because I'm not a celebrity. So yeah, I feel like I'm more in touch with what happens in politics to the normal guy, because I am a normal dude. I'm not a celebrity. I'm not out of touch. But I don't have a platform like Tom Cruise or some, Kanye West. So, what they say is just going to be resonated more because of their celebrity status. So I get it. They have a platform and they should use it responsibly. But yeah, I think there was like a recent tweet with Trump being with Dana White, Mike Tyson, and all those celebrities. So, it's like, be consistent with your criticism. I know the constructive criticism from moderates that are right-leaning are going to say, well, most of the liberals are celebrities. So it just, it doesn't really promote conservative values. So they're frustrated. I see celebrities as out of touch. I don't care if you're liberal or conservative. You're not the normal average Joe. But, it is what it is. I don't think celebrities' interests align with ours. So for the most part, I don't really care what side of the political spectrum they fall on. They're just not going to prioritize probably public schools. They're not probably going to prioritize the cost of living, But maybe they will. I don't know. So aside from that was one of the things that I just saw from, I think I had a conversation that led into public schools in the trans community, just wanting to participate in sports and all that. It was just like, I don't know, man. It led to a pretty deep conversation with an individual that I've invited to be on the show. And he said he wanted to, but he hadn't came on. So I like people that disagree with me to come on. So hopefully this video encourages you to continue that conversation with me, because I think that'd be good, because that seems to be the interest of many conservatives. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of right-wingers that I'm, connected to on Facebook that would love to see that conversation. And the last thing I want to go ahead and share is the conversation I had with someone about the Second Amendment. Now, I am pro-guns. I like guns. I think they're definitely a vital tool. But things are different now. The thing is, a lot of people like to say the past is a way to just, reference when it comes to firearms. I don't know, man. The thing is, what people don't realize, we're dealing with things that we never really had to deal with before in the past. I think Columbine was like the first, from what I can recall, eye-awakening moment. It just like how easy those guns were accessible to people, to do bad things. And those guns, I'm pretty sure, I don't remember, it's from a long time ago, if they were just taken by the parents or they were purchased by those kids because they just turned the legal age. So I don't know. I don't have the right answer, but I think we do need to come up with some solutions pretty quick, because how people are just emboldened to go into schools and shoot kids. I'm like, we can't just be talking about the Constitution and you just have a limited knowledge just based on reading that first part of the Second Amendment, and that's it. There's a history behind there, and I don't think people really know the history behind the Second Amendment. So this is pretty much what I'm going to be closing with today. There was a ratification process for, an amendment. And the Second Amendment was no different. You had the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists debating why the federal government should control the arming of militias and why states should be able to do that. And there was a lot of states that had slaves. And a lot of people probably will be a little hesitant to admit this, but you'll have your own special interests when you're denying the freedom of a man, or men and women, and you want to make sure you're prepared when they don't want to be enslaved. And that's the unfortunate truth in this country's history. There was a lot of slave states that wanted to make sure they didn't have the federal government dictating their ability to be armed to fight off slave revolts. Because in 1739, there was an insurrection in Satono, South Carolina, to 60 to 100 slaves armed with stolen muskets. So there's a big concern in those states to control slave revolts. But the militias sometimes weren't always the best equipped, so they also have to rely on individuals too. So if you did a little bit of history of like quotes from the founding fathers, from their conversations they had with people that oppose the government supplying the militia weapons, it might add more context to just your NRA talking points. And again, this is coming from a guy that values weapons, but from my experience of seeing so much irresponsible firearm behavior, it's just, even around my community when I used to live with my parents back in the day, we had some neighbors that were from the city that moved close to us, and they got guns and they were just shooting, trigger happy, and it was just ridiculous. And we would see bullet holes in our cows. So it's just like, okay. And it just total opposite experience of what I had when I was educated with how to use a firearm. And I wasn't trained by somebody in my family. I was actually trained by some friend of my father's that would come to our land and shoot his gun. And, we didn't really have an arsenal. We just had a 22 because we just used it it was a tool. We always saw firearms as a tool. And it wasn't like your identity. But this guy, he had weapons that probably passed down from his parents. So he really respected it. And it was like a samurai sword experience, I guess, or like a katana, and he didn't have any kids. So I guess he used that experience to teach me how to use his gun, his rifle. And he had multiple rifles, and he would bring them down. He would show me how to set up and shoot targets, and how to hold the gun, how to take it out, clean it, maintain it. And it was just like, not only just teaching you the process of what it is, but how to respect it. And it was like I said, I felt like I was like in a samurai movie. It's like, whoosh, here you go. Be careful and respect it. So I've always had that ingrained in me. So when I see so many people acting like Rambo or whatever, just carelessly with reckless abandonment with a firearm, it does something to me, and I just don't like that behavior. And yes, I will judge you. Sorry. Because unlike so many other things out there, a firearm could hurt, can injure you, can kill you, can impair your ability to live a normal life. So there's so many things that people just take for granted, and they just carelessly carry firearms around. Not just because, they're worried about their safety. It's just, I don't know, man. It just, I can't even articulate because it just bothers me, because I've seen so many crazy people with crazy behavior with guns. And we need to do something about that too. There's an example that I want to give, and it's just on the tip of my tongue. I just really can't think of it right now. But yeah, I mean, I know it's a hard issue for so many people. But, this is what I was thinking about. This is what I was on the tip of my tongue. Because a lot of things that I hear are NRA talking points. And there's a lot of people who say, well, I'm not NRA. I was like, yeah, but you're still using your talking points. Like, what stops a bad guy, a good guy with a gun? And I'm like, well, what about the dumb guys with guns? It's like, what stops them? There's a lot of friendly fire incidents in law enforcement too. I mean, you'll see some videos where people got killed unintentionally by law enforcement. And so you're not gonna really make a good case convincing me that a regular civilian that hasn't had the training as a law enforcement officer is gonna be composed to really engage a person that's a bad guy with a gun, especially in a crowded area. So I don't know. A lot of people like to put themselves on a pedestal thinking they're gonna be the hero. Maybe they're wishing for that day, but I think they're just as dangerous as the person that's probably shooting. I mean, there's going to be crossfire that you're probably going to have to consider. And in the heat of the moment, no one knows what's going to really happen. But we can always reference what works in other countries that are developed. I think it's good to have conversations about solutions instead of just talking about like, oh, do you trust the government? Well, I don't really trust real people either, dude. So it's gotten to the point where real people, not the government, are coming to our schools killing kids. So that's the question you need to ask yourself and be honest about. Something needs to be done. It's not the past anymore. We have new good things that are happening, and we have new obstacles. And the thing is that starts a process of making a meaningful solution is having those conversations. And I invite anyone to have that conversation here on ADPCC. So, you know what? I think that's it for today. And hopefully you guys had a great Easter. And have a good one.